Hey, I'm Todd Newton. It's always great to see you. On this episode of The Tattooed Traveler, I'm taking you to Madrid, Spain. Madrid, a city of culture, art, history, food, architecture, dancing. And not only is Madrid the capital of Spain since 1561, it's also the largest city in Spain, with a population of 3.5 million just in the city proper and more than 10.5 million visitors every year. Well, I want to start this episode off the way we do so many episodes, with a great breakfast. And directly behind me is the historic Café Guillaume. It opened in 1888. And what makes this cafe so special here in Madrid is that since the very moment it opened its doors, it has been a hub for writers and artists and thinkers and intellectuals. This was a favorite hangout of Ernest Hemingway, Salvador Dali, not to mention some of Spain's most famed authors. Pardon the mispronunciation, Café Gijón. There may be a few mispronunciations throughout this episode. Again, it opened in 1888, and it is famous for its tertulias, literary gatherings where writers and thinkers engage in deep conversations about politics and literature and society. And just look at those wood-paneled walls and the framed photos, the vintage mirrors. It really is like a time capsule in here. It's been able to retain much of its original charm, almost taking you back to another era. Just imagine the discussions and debates that took place at these tables. I will say I found the staff to be a little on the snooty side, and the food it's mediocre. But I'm okay with allowing a little bit of leeway when the place is so rich in history. It's located ideally on one of Madrid's most elegant boulevards, so something to see. Most certainly, Café Gijón remains a symbol of Madrid's literary bohemia and cultural scene. One thing that is very important in Spanish culture is tradition. And traditions, both ancient and modern, have inspired the concept of this wish wall. It's a popular spot here in Madrid, and it's accessible to all. And I definitely wanted to take part. Visitors are encouraged to take a piece of paper here and a string and leave a written wish, a dream, a personal message on the wall. It could be anything from a personal goal to world peace, love. Once you've completed your wish, you just place it anywhere you'd like on the wall. Then comes the fun part. You have to ring the bell. I hope you'll get the chance to visit the wish wall, very reminiscent of the prayer walls we've seen in other cultures. It's located in Matadero, Madrid, and it serves as a powerful symbol of collective hope and creativity. Next, I want to take you to one of the most popular areas of Madrid. Think of it as the Times Square of the city. This is Puerta del Sol, and that building is Reloj del Sol, the clock tower. Very famous clock tower, beautiful during the holidays, as you can see. It gets very crowded here, especially on New Year's Eve, when the tradition is to gather, eat 12 grapes right at the stroke of midnight, one for each chime of the clock. Also in the square is the Bear and the Strawberry Tree statue, which was unveiled in 1967. The bear represents strength and resilience, and the tree represents the natural beauty of the area. And directly behind us is the very famous Tío Pepe sign. It's very pretty at night. Tío Pepe is a famous brand of sherry, very dry sherry, produced by a winery that was founded in 1835. Still so much to come on this episode. The Royal Palace, the oldest restaurant in the world. But I do want to take you down this alley in San Ginés. and show you one of the oldest bookshops in Spain. The San Ginés bookshop dates back to 1650. All secondhand and antique books at really reasonable prices. And it just so happens to be right next to Chocolatería San Ginés, the most popular chocolateria in Madrid, possibly even in Spain. And since 1894, they've been serving up their Spanish treat, chocolate con churros. You heard me right. Thick, rich, hot chocolate accompanied by freshly fried donut sticks. Does it get any better than that? And they do it 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You really want to be here, experience it in Spain, but they have expanded internationally. They recently opened locations in Austin, Texas, and in Miami, Florida. Look how thick that chocolate is, and it's warm. Man, I could take a bath in that. The combination of chocolate and churros like these started off as a Spanish breakfast, but it soon became so popular that it's now a staple in just about every Spanish cafe, but no one does it like Chocolatería San Ginés since 1894. Our next stop is the magnificent Royal Palace, but since I'm here during the holidays, I thought I'd share some of that festive spirit with you like only Madrid can do it. By now, I'm sure you can see why so many people come to Madrid each and every year. It's a walkable city, no shortage of sights, landmarks, and clearly souvenirs. But in my opinion, no trip to Madrid is complete without visiting the Royal Palace. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Madrid is the capital of Spain, and the Royal Palace is the largest functioning royal palace in all of Europe. Tours are available just about every day except holidays, and they start at 14 euros, about $15 US. Construction took 17 years. It began in 1738 under King Philip V and was completed in 1755. It consists of 1.45 million square feet, and inside there are 3,400 rooms. This was probably my favorite, the throne room. Notice the crystal chandeliers with gold leaf decorations, that beautiful ceiling fresco painted in 1764, and of course, the twin thrones, still used by the King and Queen of Spain for ceremonial purposes, placed prominently under that canopy of red velvet. Let me get you a little closer here. Those bronze lions guard the throne, a symbol of strength and protection. Now, although this is the official residence of the Spanish royal family, it is not the primary residence. I know, I was confused too. They choose to live in the palace on the outskirts of the city. So they just use the royal palace here for official state functions, ceremonies. Philippe VI has been the head of the Spanish monarchy since June of 2014. If you're watching this because you're planning a trip to Madrid, I think you definitely want the Royal Palace on your itinerary, and you may want to plan your visit for a Wednesday or a Saturday. I'll tell you why in a moment. First, the Hall of King Charles III. This is where he passed away. This was his bedroom, and his bed would have been right along that wall there. Ferdinand VII had it completely redecorated. On to the royal dining hall now with that table that measures 118 feet in length, seating for 100 guests, and what I wouldn't give for an invitation to just one royal banquet. Now, the crown and scepter, interesting, because unlike other European monarchies, Spanish monarchs are not crowned. They go through a swearing-in ceremony, a proclamation, and that scepter and the crown are simply placed on a table beside them, never physically worn. Still mighty impressive to look at, though. Now, let me ask you this. Do you like to hit a nice farmer's market on the weekends? Me too. Well, you're going to love this. San Miguel Market, or Mercado de San Miguel, is one of Madrid's most vibrant markets. It originally opened in 1916, and the style was inspired by Parisian markets of the time. I counted more than 30 stalls, everything here, from paellas to fresh seafood, cheeses, gourmet tapas, fresh fruit. Oh, look at that. Kiwi. And an Aperol Spritz. They were gearing up for a wine tasting, which I was all in for, until I saw this, and that kind of, just dampened the mood a little bit for me. San Miguel Market is located just steps from Plaza Mayor, and everything is produced locally, so quite a bit of charm there. Well, my friend, it's hard to believe, but we are approaching our final stop on our trip to Madrid. And I think I'm going to say it was my favorite stop. The world's oldest restaurant, Sobrino de Botín. It is a Guinness World Record holder, continuously operating since 1725. Now, originally, it was called Casa Botin, founded by a Frenchman named Jean Botin and his wife. But after they passed, the restaurant passed to their nephew, which is sobrino in Spanish, hence the name. You can see it's all 18th century charm in here. Classic Spanish decor, low wooden beams, great tile work. The Spanish pronounce it botín, so I will as well, for consistency's sake. Now, the signature dish here at Botín is roast suckling pig made right there in the original wood-fired oven from 1725. Legend says that oven has never gone out, and that's what ensures the consistent cooking quality over centuries. A gentleman by the name of Emilio Gonzalez and his family took over the restaurant back in 1930, and they have maintained its traditions and reputation ever since. There are 4 levels of Botín, and for the price of about 90 euros, you are able to take a tour of the entire restaurant and then enjoy an extraordinary 5-course meal. I highly recommend you do that, but you want to make your reservations well in advance. You'll learn that those stones were from the original Madrid wall. This cross-stitching was done by Emilio Gonzalez's wife back in the 1930s. This is the original dining room on the second floor of the building. And I'll mention Ernest Hemingway again, not just because I'm a huge fan, but because he had his own table right there. He and Emilio Gonzalez became such good friends because Hemingway spent so much time here at Botín. In fact, he mentions the restaurant in his 1926 novel, The Sun Also Rises. And ta-da, look at that, the roast suckling pig. The meal began, as you saw, with cheese and bread, followed by scrambled eggs with sausage, croquettes. The red wine was some of the best I've ever had, and for dessert, lemon sorbet and espresso. I cannot recommend a visit to Sobrino de Botín highly enough. Absolutely perfecto. What an adventure. Thank you so much for joining me here in Madrid. I hope you had a great time. I hope you are planning your visit, found some spots that you absolutely must see. I want you to see as much of this big, beautiful world as you can in this life. It's what it's all about. I'm Todd Newton, the Tattoo Traveler, and until we meet again a little further on down the road, travel safely.